Good morning. Welcome back to the Peachy Keens. It's an early morning and we have no children. It's just Doug and I today, and we are off to Fun to Dive to swim with the manatees. And it's my birthday. Yay!
About to leave, already packing. Come with me, I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know.
Before boarding the Fun to Dive bus out to the boat, you'll watch an approximately 10-minute video about appropriate interaction with the manatees. Fun to Dive will provide your goggles, snorkel, and wetsuit.
This is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out. Down with my own doubts. Be free with me. Be free. Be free with me. Be free. Not looking back. Eyes on the freeway, Bonnie and Clyde, a classic cliche. We're on the run. This is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out. Down with my own doubts. Be free with me. Be free. Be free with me. Be free. Be free with me. Yeah, let's go. Be free with me. Oh, come on and let's go. Let's be free with me. Yeah, be free. Be free. Be free with me.
How was it?
Amazing. So cool. I hope the camera worked.
Guess we'll find out.
That was some hot chocolate. We're back, and it was super fun, super exciting. Well, at first, we were a little bit like, ooh, I don't know about this, because it was like a manatee safari instead of swim with the manatees. So probably for, how long did we probably
2
ride
hours.
around?
For almost 2 hours, we just trolled around looking for signs of life. And halfway through that, we did see manatees, but they were on the move. And So he said as long as they're on the move, there's no reason getting in the water. But then at the same point, he's like, this might be our only chance. So he did anchor out ahead of where he thought it was going to move past us. And by the time we all got in the water, it was gone. It swam past the point that we had put the anchor. So,
which thankfully I didn't get all the way. Only my feet got in the water, and he was like, hold up. So I wasn't wet and cold. Like,
and then he's like, all right, let's just go to this place where you'll at least see some fish, and there's a chance there'll be a manatee that, like, we don't know that one's here, but there's a chance there's one here. And not 10 minutes after being in the water, one of the guides said one just came up right over here, like 20-30 yards in front of the boat. If y'all hang out in this area, he might come up again. And sure enough, he came up during that course of 20 minutes twice, but he went right back down. And then the third time he came up, he decided to hang out, and it was really cool.
And that's the video that we got where he came up and he was like right in front of my face and just like stared me down, and then he started chewing on the GoPro cord. And at that point, so Doug and I were right there next to each other. At that point, Doug kind of grabbed my arm, and because you're not supposed to really move when they come close, and so I was like, oh gosh, he's like right under me, kind of
giving you a kiss.
And so Doug kind of pulled me back a little bit, and then he swam off. And then the one that you followed, what happened?
He just wanted to hang out a little bit more.
So the tips that I would give is, if you're going to come do this, so today was, here's the temperature, it's 71 outside, and so
the water temperature is safe.
It's, the ocean is pretty warm still, so there's a cold front coming through tonight. So they said a lot of times
68,
when a cold front comes through, like 2 days after that is when it's like the videos that you see on the websites and things where there's like tons of manatees. That's like probably in November and December when the water is cold.
Has to be 68.
The ocean water?
The ocean water has to be 68.
The ocean water has to be 68 for them to want to come in.
Because the springs does
for
constant
refuge.
71 or 72.
Right. So if you're coming, you want to try to find, naturally you're, like when I booked, I thought, oh, I want a warm day, so that way I'm not freezing when I get out of the water. But you actually want the opposite. You want it to be cold so that the manatees are in, because a day like today, as we mentioned, it's harder for them to find. But one thing that we were really impressed with the place that we went to, Fun to Dive, is that we were coming in from our tour, and they were being very upfront and honest with the next group coming in, basically saying like, here's what our first group's experienced. They had a hard time finding the manatees, so if you want to go, we'll take the boats out, but if you don't want to, then talk to the people at the desk. So I'm not sure what they do exactly, but we just thought it was nice that it's not just like, well, we're just going to take them out there. But both our guide and our boat driver were very, like, you definitely could tell they were like wanting to find them for us, and thankfully we found them. We've had a nice warm shower and freshened up, and we're going to share a couple tips with you that we thought of after having our experience today. So one thing that we said after we did the tour, originally we were like, I don't think it matters how many people, there's different tours offered. There's one with 12 people, and there's one with 6 people, and then there's like a private tour, which I think is much more expensive. But originally we thought like, it doesn't matter how many people are on the boat, but we ended up, because the only one available, I think, at the time that we wanted was the semi-private, which is 6 people. We ended up thinking afterwards that we were glad that we took the 6-person tour, just because when you get in the water, it's nice to not have so many people. Actually, one of the manatees that we saw, when there was a boat of 12 people, when they got in the water, it kind of scared off the manatee. So we would suggest the smaller tour, especially if you're going to have kids with you. I think it's just nicer to like have a smaller group on the boat. The next thing is, if you are going to bring kids, we would suggest you bring a blanket on the boat. They suggest towels, but I think just little kids would need to be like completely wrapped up. We were like shivering, and today is a fairly warm day, so if you came on a cold day, which is what is recommended, I think they would need a blanket, which probably like a fleece or something that is okay getting wet. would be the best choice for that. So speaking of kids, since this is a family channel, it would be a fun activity, but I think you would just have to gauge it on your own kids. Like we said, probably our oldest would be fine doing it because he's a good swimmer and he would do fine with the snorkel, but our other two, we would be more hesitant to do it with, just because of, you know, they will give you a noodle, but you pretty much need to know how to swim and be comfortable using a snorkel because you're having to look down in the water. And then our next and last tip, I think, is to stay near the guide. They will tell you that when you get in the water you should stay near the guide, but kind of people are swimming all around and sometimes it's hard. I couldn't swim as fast as the guide could swim, but definitely because she's done it so much, she or he, whichever kind of guide you have, they know like what to look for. And so the manatees that we did encounter, we were right next to her when we saw them. So I would definitely say stay near the guide, and then you have a better chance of having that interaction with the manatees. So any other tips? Go do it. That's our last tip. All right, thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed this video, we'd love for you to give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, we'd also love for you to subscribe. We are a family channel and we highlight family-friendly destinations and tips, and specifically Central Florida ones. But we also go other places too. So we hope you enjoyed the video. Stay peachy.